Hello everyone, it's your boy William. Today let's go back to 4,000 years ago to see how Prince Shao Kang got the throne back. Last time we mentioned that the Xia Dynasty was overturned by Hou Yi. Then Hou Yi went back to his own country, Youqiong, but he was too lazy to take the responsibility as a ruler. He spent all day having fun, ignoring the country's affairs. This gave other aspirants opportunity to start a coup. Finally, one of the generals, Han Zhuo, killed Hou Yi in a dinner party. Han Zhuo was the most trusted person to Hou Yi. After Hou Yi controlled China, Han Zhuo took charge of all the affairs. Basically, the army was in his hands, but Hou Yi was enjoying drink and delicacy. Poop! Han Zhuo stabbed him in the chest. The crown moved to Han Zhuo's head in BC 2020. See, no wonder people always see that ruling a country is harder than getting a country. In Mandarin, we say, 打江山容易，守江山难. After Han Zhuo was in power, he showed his capability. He destroyed the Xia Dynasty completely. That only Youqiong existed as the ruling country. But there was a hidden threat. No one noticed. This was also the hope of Xia Dynasty's second rise. At that point, the emperor of Xia Dynasty was Xiang. Although he was killed, his pregnant wife escaped through a dog hole. Finally, under the cover of some loyal soldiers, she ran back to her family's fief. In BC 2015, Prince Shao Kang was born. During his childhood, he heard of a lot of stories about his family. He swore that he must get everything back. Then he put his anger and ambition into action. He started the way of rule all the time. When he was a grown-up, he worked in the stable. He often rode horses to build connection with the scattered officials who were still loyal to Xia Dynasty. After getting to know Shao Kang, most of them decided to help him. Gradually, Shao Kang developed a decent force. Then they started their action. First, they gathered info about Han Zhuo. Then when they wanted to make the next move, Han Zhuo's son, Han Zhuo, found the existence of Shao Kang. He was very decisive. He led the army to assault Shao Kang's grandpa's fief. In BC 1999, Shao Kang's protection was shattered. The people living there were slaughtered. The fief was set on fire. Shao Kang's mom, grandparents, and his friends all died. As for Shao Kang, he was blessed. He escaped alive. But the price was huge. Shao Kang's hate towards Han Zhuo reached the top. He wanted revenge so badly, but he knew he was too weak. He must be patient. The silver lining was the enemy thought that Shao Kang died too. This misjudgment gave Shao Kang enough time to grow. Finally, Shao Kang got the asylum provided by Yu Si, who was a close friend of his family. On the other side, Han Zhuo only trusted people related to him, especially his son, Han Zhuo. About this part, I think Han Zhuo got the throne through a coup. So he thought that everyone around him except his own blood might betray him. He was super cautious. After the big victory, he wasn't satisfied. He sent armies everywhere to kill anyone he thought having connection with Xia Dynasty. The voice of resistance grew louder and louder. Shao Kang used this chance to keep recruiting new members. Not only this, he also governed the fief for Yu Si, who was old at that point. Shao Kang emphasized the welfare of the people. He led people to cultivate the deserted land. The production of food improved a lot. No one starved anymore. There were also patrols protecting the inhabitants. People lived happily. All of this was in Yu Si's eyes. Finally, he decided to let his daughter marry Shao Kang. This time, Shao Kang had the full support of Yu Si. This was also the solid foundation for Shao Kang to resurrect the Xia Dynasty. Gradually, the nearby tribes sought happy life of people under Shao Kang's lead. They all joined him. The force got stronger and stronger. This time, even if Han Zhuo knew Shao Kang was still alive, he couldn't destroy them easily. The war was oncoming. For Han Zhuo, his most trustworthy hand was his son Han Zhuo. He sent his son to the front, so he had two layers of defense. In BC 1985, Han Zhuo divided his troops into small groups to increase mobility. Then he sent them to set Shao Kang's provision on fire. This caused huge trouble to Shao Kang. The morale kept declining. At first, Shao Kang tried to send more people to guard the provision. But that didn't do the trick. Finally, he realized that they could only stall the enemy, but stop them unless they killed Han Zhuo. And sending an army to kill Han Zhuo would cause too much loss. That was definitely option number 2. Just like a pendulum, the balance of winning started inclining to Han Zhuo. But Prince Shao Kang was blessed. His second-hand Nü Ai was resourceful. He brought up with the concept of agent. He would play this role to pry on the intel about Han Zhuo. He was also the first agent/spy in Chinese history. Then Shao Kang made another wise move. He asked his people to retreat. This action was effective. Han Zhuo became complacent. He went out of the camp to have fun a lot. That was a huge mistake. At the end of BC 1985, Nü Ai made a plan. After spying for 6 months, he knew Han Zhuo was an alcoholic. He bribed a close friend of Han Zhuo. And this friend invited Han Zhuo to try some fine wine. Of course, Han Zhuo was going to come. In the dinner party, while Han Zhuo was relishing the drink, a group of assassins led by Nü Ai showed up. The life of Han Zhuo came to an end. Do you guys find it familiar? I think this is karma. A trap in a dinner party helped Han Zhuo reach the top. This time, it represented a downhill for his rule. Without Han Zhuo, the momentum was reversed. In BC 1984, while Han Zhuo knew the death of his son, Shao Kang had already broken the first defense, and he didn't lose much. This attributed to 007 Nü Ai. Not only did he set a trap to kill Han Zhuo, he also bought over some important generals. Eventually, the force of Shao Kang got stronger. One step after one step, they approached the capital of Youqiong, Zhenxun. At this point, everyone knew that Xia Dynasty was going to revive. It was just a matter of time. But Shao Kang was a kind leader. He didn't want to see his men to bleed. He started a siege. However, for the people inside the city, they were all panicked. No one bothered to think about how to break free from this hard situation, but how to get Shao Kang's forgiveness. With regard to this part, I really admire Shao Kang. He had a big heart. After he got the throne back, he didn't punish anyone who supported Han Zhuo before. What's more admirable was that although he didn't trust those guys, he still took their advice, if that was a good one. Obviously, he was an enlightened monarch. For the key figures in Han Zhuo's side, they had a few secret meetings. Finally, they reached an agreement. One night in BC 1981, the guards opened the gate to welcome the prince. No casualties. Shao Kang got the throne back. He also captured Han Zhuo alive. Until this point, Han Zhuo had controlled China for 40 years each. He was an old man. He knew the ending was coming. Finally, Shao Kang sentenced him to death. The rule of Youqiong was over. Xia Dynasty was back. Then Shao Kang rewarded people supporting him all the way high positions. Getting the throne back was not enough. He also wanted his people to be satisfied with him. Because along this long path, he knew the foundation was always people. The second year, he decided to use Zhenxun as the capital. He also held a big ceremony to commemorate his ancestors. Then he started his reform, which was in 3 aspects. First, he reinforced the control over army. He stationed thousands of soldiers in the remote area to prevent the rebellion of affiliated tribes and countries. Second, he reduced the levies on people. He also encouraged the development of agriculture and free trade. Living standard improved a lot. And the last thing was to select the talents. The society was relatively fair. Thanks to Shao Kang, Xia Dynasty continued. In BC 1975, national force reached the peak. In Chinese, we always say, 风雨过后才见彩虹. After rainstorm, we get to see the rainbow. The Prince Shao Kang avenged his father and his ancestors, getting the throne back. Despite being in a desperate situation, he did not sink into despair. In exile, he quietly gathered strength, relied on wisdom and appeal to unite people's hearts, and eventually reversed the situation and restored dynasty. This not only demonstrated the will to survive in a desperate situation, but also confirmed the truth that he who wins the hearts of the people wins the world. Thank you for your attention. See you next time. Cheers.